I just enabled. Let's do it. Okay, so this is Sarah Nadler. Welcome back to our show. And in this episode, I am very excited because we are welcoming onto the show Jena. Now, Jena, tell us a little bit about us. You have quite a background with email marketing. Is that right?
Yeah. So, hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm the advocate manager for AWeber. So we are the leading email marketing service provider. We were the very first autoresponder, and we help small businesses and entrepreneurs connect with their clients. And my role as advocate manager is I help podcasters and coaches, consultants, content creators, whoever teach their audience about email marketing. And I share some tips and tricks and some do's and don'ts. And before working for AWeber, I worked in a lot of different industries that included bridal and real estate. So a lot of those like big emotional decisions. And
right.
Yeah. And I've also done sales and marketing, but everything that I've done has kind of culminated to this point because it's all about building relationships and building trust. And through AWeber and through email, you can do that. And so that's what really drew me to this company.
That's beautiful. And yeah, I really strongly am excited to have you today because I know that your experience with all these different industries is exactly what our audience needs to hear because our audience is very diverse.
Good. I love that.
Yeah. And sometimes having examples only from coaching or only from bridal can be very frustrating, I think, for small business owners. So we're really, really grateful to have you on the show today.
Thank
now,
you.
One thing I know our clients just struggle with so much is even understanding what do we do with email marketing and what can automation do for your business? So could you kind of enlighten us a little bit? What are some of the things, the opportunities that lie here in email marketing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, a question I get a lot is like, what is email marketing? Like, what the heck is it even to begin with? And really what I kind of alluded to is that email marketing is very simply the art and the practice of building relationships with your clients and your prospects. You're doing it through highly personalized emails, but you're doing it at scale. So
right.
It's going to save you a ton of time. I'm a big fan of like work-life balance and trying to do all of the things, but not doing everything all at once. And so email is just so powerful in that way because you can do automated emails. You can do automations that are going to save you time and kind of save you from repetitive manual marketing tasks. And the great thing about email is that you can use it to connect over and over again and drive them to wherever you want them to go. So say it's your blog or your podcast, your e-commerce site, your webinar, your ebook, wherever you want to take your audience, you can take them through email. And you can also promote your company and your products and your services. And it's really one of the most effective ways to communicate with your audience because there's no algorithm to fight. You send an email, right. They get it, they open it or they don't. Like those are the choices. There's no guessing like, did they see it? So it really puts you in control of when you communicate with your list or with your audience.
And as we all know, control equals income, right?
Exactly. Yes. You are 100% in control with email, which is why it's so powerful and why it's such a must for your business. I love social media. I'm a huge proponent. I'm on almost all of the platforms, but you have to use social media in conjunction with your email. And right. You can turn your social media followers into email subscribers. And then you can turn around and turn your email subscribers into like raving fans on social media or wherever else you want them to go.
Good. Yeah. So let's talk about the how, because one thing I always hate is watching a show and then they go on and on about like what, and they never get into how. And sure, a lot of people out there say you should have to pay for the how, but I'm not a believer of that. If I'm going to do a show, I like to give honest value. So let's just get into the nitty gritty right here.
Yes.
Let's talk about nurtures. I think those are probably one of the first ways a person who's a complete newbie to email marketing can really start utilizing their email list and like you said, their social media. If you've got some kind of opt-in, how do you nurture, and do you recommend the first week, the first 30 days? Like, where do nurtures fit in?
So, well, I think you need to take a step back first, and you need to figure out a way to capture your audience and build your audience first. And so
Sure.
if you have a website and you don't have a sign up form to your email list on your website, you are missing a huge opportunity, because let's face it, there are people that will visit your website and they will see what you do and they will say, hey, I love this. I love you. I love your vibe. You know, you have what I might need, but their pain level might not be high enough where they're actually going to take action, or they might not purchase, but they like what you do and they might need you down the road. And email marketing is all about top of mind and kind of timing. And so if you didn't have a way to capture their emails and follow up with them again and again, when they're ready to take action or make a purchase, they might not remember you. The chances of them
That's
going
right.
back to your website are very slim. So you need a way
But
to
let's talk
stay in front
about
of
that
them.
first. Yeah, that's right. Let's mention here though, right? It's not just the sign up form. And correct me if I'm right, but wrong, but we want an incentivized sign up form, right?
You
I've
got it.
talked on the show before about lead magnets. And for anyone who's new and doesn't remember what a lead magnet is, a lead is a person who's expressed interest in your services for whom you have contact information. So flybys don't count. And I think that's what you're talking about, Jenna, right? Is lots of people are flybys on our website every day. I myself had 1,000 people hit my website last month. I unfortunately did not get 1,000 new clients, right?
Exactly.
And
You're totally right.
yeah, and statistically speaking, only 6 to 7% of people will be ready to take action now. But with email marketing, we can boost that up to an additional 30%. Those are the numbers I've heard. Does that correlate with what you know?
That sounds about right. And you know, you want to make sure that you're capturing people who are interested in hearing from you. And, you know, you bring up the lead magnet, which is perfect, because you want to make sure that you're giving value right from the start. People
Right.
don't want to join your email list. Like, news flash, like no one says, I think I'm going to join an email list today. Like, that just
I'd
doesn't
like to be
happen.
spam today.
Exactly. But what they do want is they want to learn something new. They want to have you solve their problems or give them something that they're really interested in. And so if you have a lead magnet, it's going to incentivize and entice them to hand over that email address, which we all know we protect our email address at all
Yep.
costs.
Oh
And
yeah.
it takes something compelling to want us to hand over that email address. And so I
Yeah.
always tell my listeners or whoever to make sure that you have something that your target or your ideal customer wants. Make sure it's
Mm-hmm.
something unique. But ultimately at the end of the day, it serves them, it helps them, and then they will be more likely to say, yes, I want to be on your email list because I want to learn what you have to offer. So that is a great point. I'm so glad you brought that up.
So a good point. Let's give them some tips here on how to spot a good lead magnet for themselves, because we have so many different industries, right? The best lead magnet is going to be one that solves what I call a mini problem for your audience. So it's genuinely a problem that they want solved, but it's a mini problem. It's not the full problem. For instance, if you're a dentist, I just thought of this. If you're a dentist, the wrong lead magnet would be, 5 ways to take care of your teeth at home. Right? Like, that's great. It solves their problem and now they don't need you. Mm-hmm. What we want is something that incentivizes them, yes, to learn more information about you, but also points out the gaps in their knowledge or the gaps in their journey from point A to point Z, and Z being where your product or your service gets them. So coming back to that dentist example, maybe 5 ways to get rid of a toothache, and 3 of them happen to happen in your office. Mm-hmm. The other 2 are things they can do at home, right? So that would incentivize the person to want to download the thing and thereby give you their email address, but it also isn't shutting the door on their interest, because people come, if they're actually going to download that, they are your perfect ideal client, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Can you give me any do you have any other good lead magnet examples in other industries that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, what I always say is like, think about what your business is and some questions that your audience might have. And so like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who sell essential oils, and I don't know anything about essential oils. I don't know which oils to use for what, but if there was like a quick little PDF that says like, if you have a headache, use this. And if you have a bug bite, use this oil. If you want to feel zen, diffuse this oil. Like, I don't know what that is, but if I had like a really easy, convenient PDF that I could download, and then you would send me a nurture campaign to say like, oh, you have a headache, like buy peppermint oil, or, so it could be very simple. It doesn't have to be something crazy. You don't spend hours or money or give away the farm. It could be something that you're already doing for your customers that they see a lot of value in and help them on the buyer journey.
Perfect. Yeah. So PDFs, I've also seen mini training videos if you're an online entrepreneur, right? I've also seen quizzes, the best quiz I think I did was the one that got me onto the keto diet. Actually, it was like, take this quiz to see what body type you are. And I was like, oh, I already know what body type I am. And by the end of the quiz, I was like, wow, I'd actually learned something I had no idea about my own body. Right. So really think mini transformation, I think.
Exactly. Yes. And there's not like a one size fits all lead magnet. Right. You have to think about you, your business, how you serve them, and what mini problem that they are trying to solve. But it could be something as simple as content that you already have created. So if you're a food blogger, it could be a PDF that curates your top 10 recipes. Or if you're a podcaster, it could be, are you new to my podcast? Here's my top 5 most downloaded podcast episodes. So it's something like that you're making easy for them. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a product. It could be something that you're just curating that makes their life easier. I know like when I find a new podcast that I want to listen to, I'm always scrolling through being like, all right, like what do I have to listen to? But if you give them a direction and say like, start with these 5, then, it's making it so much easier for them to take action, which is to listen to the podcast.
Right. And as an author, I've used 2 different types. We call them reader magnets instead, right? You can do an excerpt of your book, or if you have a series, you can do the first book free. So there's so many options. But anyway, so good. Those are lead magnets. That's how you get the person onto your email list. Now let's talk, like I said, about these nurtures. How do you make the person want to stick around and not just take that freebie that you gave them and, tell you to take a hike?
Yeah. So first step is you want to have a welcome email, and that should be sent to them automatically when they subscribe to your list. So
and AWeber can do that, right?
Absolutely. Yes. So you can trigger an automated email or a campaign of emails based right on when they sign up to your list. And it's super simple. We have templates, we make it easy. But, you want to make sure that when they sign up to your list that you're sending an email right away, because the fact of the matter is that when someone joins their list, your list, they're the most engaged that they're ever going to be. They're actually waiting for an email from you. And so you should send an automated welcome email that thanks them for subscribing, delivers your lead magnet or your reader magnet or your incentive, because you made a promise, right? You said, give me your email. I'm going to give you this. If you don't deliver it and right away, you're kind of breaking that trust from the get-go, and that's not a good place to start. And you can also set the tone and the expectations. So you could say, hey, thanks so much. I'm so excited to help you XYZ. Here's your free PDF. And, as a subscriber, here's what else you can expect from me. I'm going to talk about, this, which solves that. And you want to kind of put it in terms of how it helps them. Don't make it all about you. Make it about your reader. And you could say, this is the kind of content I'm going to send you. This is how frequently I'm going to send it. And you could even ask them questions to elicit engagement and responses. You could say, what kind of content do you want to hear from me? What kind of problems do you have that you want answered? And so don't be afraid to ask them for content ideas. And you want to ask them to whitelist you and then, see you in the next email. So I would say it's as soon as they subscribe, you need to be nurturing them from the beginning.
And now let's define whitelist. I think a lot of my clients probably actually don't really know. We all get told by email marketers, whitelist our email. And then we all go, what is that?
Yeah, so you want to give them simple instructions on how to either add you to their contact list, or if your email ends up in the promotion folder, to drag it over to the primary inbox. And that way you're ensuring that as many people as possible are getting your emails in the inbox and that they're actually seeing your emails. And in our templates, Aweber gives you the instructions, so it's all there done for you in the template, and you don't even have to worry about, well, what are the steps? We give them for you.
Perfect. Yeah, let's talk about that dreaded promo folder. Do you have any other tips for our listeners on how to avoid the promo folder?
Yeah, I would say choose your email marketing platform carefully. Not all of them are created equally in terms of deliverability, and so certainly that's going to help you. Also, the more engaged your email list is going to help your email reputation. So we all on social media have a social media score, and it's the same way in email. And so the more opens you get, the more click-throughs you get, the more engagement you get, the higher your score is going to be. And that's going to help with getting out of the promotion folder as well. So a tip for that is to make sure that you're sending to people who want to hear from you. If you're doing email marketing the right way, it's going to be 100% permission based. They've opted in. They have said, yes, I want to be on your email list. And that's so, so important. Please do not skip that step because you don't want to be spammy. You don't want to send to people who did not say yes to your email list, because that's going to help you get unsubscribes, which you don't necessarily want. And if they don't unsubscribe, they're not going to open your emails. And so that's going to say to our email providers like Gmail and all of those others, oh, this email is not important. No one's opening it. So we're going to start delivering it less.
Right.
So send information to people who want to hear from you. Make sure it's relevant information. Like, here's an example. I got an email that said, makeup tricks for women over 60. That was a subject line. Well, I didn't open that email because it wasn't relevant to me. Now, there may have been relevant information in the email, but that wasn't relevant to me at first glance. So I just deleted that email. So we can talk about, all day long, like, make sure that you're sending relevant information. If they've signed up for a lead magnet that talks about essential oils, don't be sending them an email that has to do with something completely out of the box, because that's not what they signed up for. So all of that combined is going to help get you out of the promotions folder.
Perfect. Let's talk a little bit, because you touched upon it, about target audiences with email marketing. Because I think that's the other really powerful thing that Aweber and companies like it do, is they allow us to really segment our audience and really speak to who we're speaking to, rather than trying to speak to a crowded room, right?
Exactly. Yep. So you want to make sure that you are sending really targeted messaging. And when you're doing that, you're sending information that's going to excite them. And like I just said in that last example, they're going to want to open the email. And with tags and segmentation, and if you don't know what a tag is, it's basically a keyword that you can apply to your subscriber. It's going to allow you to really deliver hyper relevant content to the people who are most interested in it. And then it's going to lead them to open, click, and purchase. That's the end goal. And with segments and tagging, you can send campaigns that are triggered by a tag. So, an example, we all have one kind of ideal customer in our mind, but within that customer are subsets. So, like, let's just say you have here's a very simple example. You have a dog or a pet company, right? You could say, are you a dog lover? Or are you a cat lover? Well, if I pick I'm a dog lover, you're not going to send cat lover or cat information, right? You're going to send dog information because that's what I'm interested in. And I have tunnel vision on dogs. I want to know everything that you have to say about dogs and dog products and dog services. I don't have a cat. I don't need to know any of that. And so when you segment your audience, you can send those campaigns that are relevant, but you can also send one-time broadcast emails that's going to say, like, maybe you have a dog service offer and you're going to send it to that segment. So that's a very simple example, but it allows for you to send really relevant information. There's not all of these distractions about all these other things, because at the end of the day, you want them to take one focused action. And the more like uber targeted and relevant information you can send, the easier it is for them to purchase.
Right. So let's say you're using a sales funnel, right? Or you've got your website, and when a person clicks on a particular button, you can tag the person as having clicked on that button. For example, right? A lot of my audience are familiar with all the various things I offer, you know, business consulting, life coaching, marriage coaching. I'm an author. And even as an author, I've written nonfiction and fiction books. Imagine if you were to opt in on my website for marriage counseling, and then all of a sudden you're getting a bunch of emails from me about my fiction young adult stories, right? You would just think I was crazy. So that's one of the great things about email marketing is we can go inside our subscriber list and just tag people with what they're interested in. Not because we're creepy and we want to like know everything about the person, but because we're generous and we want to not cause them to, you know, feel like we weren't paying attention, right? No one likes to feel unlistened to. And we want them to know that we cared enough to actually focus in on the things that they probably need next. And when you do that, and then you use something like Aweber to build a campaign about that, then the person's not just kind of, as a business owner, we're no longer just kind of shotgun marketing or throwing things at a wall and hoping they stick. We're actually guiding and controlling the customer in a direction that's going to be very pro-survival for them, right? And that's the power of email marketing, I think, ultimately, is it's not about how much money we can make from it. It's the transformations that you can cause with your emails alone, which is very, very powerful for the customer. And that's why you'll find sometimes 90 days after they subscribed and they've just been silent the whole time, all of a sudden they'll reach out to you and want to pay for a $2,000 service. Right?
Exactly. I love that. And I love that example you gave. And you can even, you know, correlate that to an e-commerce site. So maybe someone purchased off your site and they bought a product. You could tag them with that product and then send them follow-up campaigns on products that are similar to that. So maybe like a recommended product email, or maybe they put something in their cart and they didn't check out. Through Aweber, you can send them abandoned cart emails to say like, hey, you forgot something in your cart, or you could drive home the value of that product and how it's going to help them through that email. And you might turn people who left your website into customers or returning customers, which is always great. Or you could even go as far as tagging them. Say I bought a blue t-shirt. You could tag them blue t-shirt. And then next time you have a product that's similar, you could send them like, hey, I know you love the blue t-shirt. Maybe you'd love this too. And so you can really do some amazing things in serving your customers. And just like if you had a course, maybe your lead magnet was a free course and it's a high level overview. Maybe you have courses that dig deeper into that subject or one portion of that course. You could send them like, hey, you signed up for a free course. Did you know I have this other course that dives deeper into this problem? And you could get them to purchase additional courses. So there's a lot you can do.
Totally. Well, good. So do you have any other tips for people if because a lot of my business owners, I'm noticing, they're not super savvy when it comes to digital marketing, and they're probably already doing all of these things and they're doing all of them manually, right?
Yes.
They're either calling the person and following up on the things they were interested in, or they're manually sending emails. So Do you have any other tips for someone who is just like dipping a toe in the automated world, and how do we make that seem human and also take a lot of time off our plates?
Yeah, I mean, I talk to a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I'm manually collecting information and I'm sending them an email." And that might work in the very beginning, but that
Right.
is not easy to scale. And
Right.
I'm sure all of us are saying like, "How can I grow my business? How can I take it to the next level?" And if you're doing things manually, it's going to be a lot harder to get there, right? And so we want to make sure we're taking most of the work out of it and using the automations that you can kind of set and forget to save you time, and just leave time for you to do all the parts of the business that you love. Like, I guarantee most of you did not go into business saying like, I'm going to start a business so I can start email marketing. Like, that's just not that's not our why, right? That's not
Right. It's a
our,
tool.
exactly. And so, most people aren't super savvy. I would say first and foremost, you have to capture emails and build your audience. You can do that through sign-up forms on your website. If you don't have a web presence yet, maybe you're primarily social selling or in-person selling, you can create a landing page, which is a standalone page that drives your visitor to one specific action, like signing up for your email list or buying your course or
That's right.
signing up for a webinar. And so you don't need to have a full robust website to begin. You can start simply with a landing page or series of landing pages, and you can do that free inside Aweber. And then, we talked about the welcome email, which is so important. You want to make sure you set the expectation, but then kind of next step is you want to make sure that you're sending a regularly valuable newsletter. And so think about your business, how much content you have to offer. That will dictate the frequency. But maybe you have a weekly newsletter or a monthly newsletter. You want to send information that's going to help your customer, because the more value you give them, the more excited they're going to be to give you their money, when they're ready to purchase. So, say you're sending every week, make sure it's not just sales emails. It's not just pushing your products. You don't want it to be like, here's how you can help me. It's here's how I can help you. So maybe it's articles that help them or something that they'd be interested in. Like for me, I have a weekly email list that I have outside of, it's with Aweber, but outside of my position at Aweber, I have a little side gig, and my target audience are busy moms. And so every week I include a positive quote. I include a recipe of the week, because like for me, I know how hard it is to figure out like what the heck I'm going to feed my family every day after working all day. And
that sounds great. Where do we sign up, Jena? You'll
So
have to send us the link so we can put it in the show notes.
So like, I know how busy I am. I know my customers are so busy. So I want to make sure that they have an easy recipe of the week. I include like what I'm reading, what I'm watching on Netflix. It doesn't have to be all product or service all the time. It should just be things that your audience is going to find interesting, helpful, or valuable. And if you're sending on a regular basis, that's going to help you stay top of mind, so that when they are ready, they're going to go back to their inbox. They're going to search in their inbox and say, here's my problem. Oh, here's an email that solves it. So those are the top 3 things that I recommend. And if you are brand new, I would say just get started. You don't know what you don't know until you try. And you can sign up for free with Aweber. There's also paid plans for more sophisticated needs and more subscribers. But there's no reason why any business owner, any hobbyist, any content creator should not be using email marketing. And you're going to see that it's a long-term process. It's about building the relationship over time, building the trust over time. And you're going to see that they're going to come back to you when they are ready to purchase. So if you're not doing email marketing, please start today.
And I think with that, we're going to end. This has been wonderful, Jena. Thank you so much. We will be sharing all of the resources that we talked about and more on the show notes page. So head on over to sarahnicolenadler.com/show, and that's where you can find them. Thank you, Jena.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. I think it will. And then it might be a really